This is Grahamstown, a small city in the Eastern Cape. Like many other settlements in the province, Grahamstown residents suffer from high unemployment and an increasing mortality rate. More people are being buried every year at a high cost to their surviving family members. Yet, funerals are becoming more lavish and expensive, often to the long-term disadvantage of families who struggle to pay debts whilst dealing with their grief.
There's a limousine, and then there are all these posh cars like behind the limousine. So everybody is actually going to say that, wow, that was really a posh funeral.
If you die, you also want to have that executive funeral so that, you know, you're sort of living it up with the Joneses, if you know what I mean.
It isn't a nice experience to bury someone you love. You're coping with the loss and with the expenses that come with the loss.
This is Sindiswa, who recently buried her cousin.
He was 25 years old, a very helpful young man. He was like a brother to me.
Our funerals are very expensive, and you need to plan ahead, and so many people are dying now, and you plan for your parents' death, you plan for your cousin's death or your children's death.
With 7 funeral homes present in the town, death is big business. But where are the funeral homes making their money?
In the olden days, people were wrapped in blankets and then they were put into the tomb.
We had to put on some, to up the coffin, because the cheapest of them all is like, you feel so bad about it.
Obviously, the more expensive the coffin is, the more profit I make. That is just how it works.
Now you have to put your person that has died in a coffin. That will cost from 3,000 up to about 20,000 if it is a casket.
We make our profit in the selling of the coffins, yes.
That one, they are all made out of a cheap wood. They are all painted, but this one, it's real wood, yeah. And we sell this for 3,500.
Average monthly payments for funeral societies range from 45 Rand to 100 Rand and pay out up to 5,000 Rand. They cover immediate family with extra costs for extended family members. These policies cover the basics, but not a tombstone or extra transport. In most cases, there is a cash benefit, which generally goes toward the cost of food for mourners.
It looks as if like everybody has to be fed. So even the people who are just neighbors, they also have to be fed.
It was the simplest of foods in the past, you know.
The community, they would come and help the bereaved. They would come to help, they would come with sugar, they would come with maize, they would come with all the things that are necessary in their funeral.
The same that was eaten was the same that was done in the home, you mushed, you know, in the home.
They are not as supportive as they used to be before. And after the funeral, when you come from the grave, there would be a table. In that table, you have to contribute, to donate something, like money-wise now.
In the olden days, people would come and donate bread, donate this, donate a sheep, you know, just so that they can be meat.
Nowadays, you don't even see that. You don't even see that table. So meaning that now the family has to actually bear all the costs of the funeral.
It was not a strain for people to bury their people, you know. Unlike these days now that you have to have a cool drink, you know, bottled cool drink and the roast meat and all those things. They were unthinkable in the past, you know.
But does this mean that funeral parlours are exploiting these new Xhosa values?
I think that they see that there's a lot of money in the funeral parlor, and at the same time they see that so many people are dying, especially with the AIDS right now.
One can only say people are being exploited when, for example, they bury someone and they don't have the money to bury them and they take out loans.
They make the people to compete against each other. So if, for example, you take the coffin, and then you take their transport, and then you take their tent, and then you take their programs and whatever. So if you spend a lot of money, then they are going to give you a hearse, that is a limousine.
I had to buy something that looks smart, you know. They won't go in an old. They don't like an old hearse. They like a car that looks nice and smart.
But it was not like it is today. People are money conscious these days. You know?
There's a strong move away from that kind of communal ngabantu that you exist because of other people. A strong move away from that, and I think it's in line with capitalism.
Society's new expectations of what a funeral should look like has led to increased spending by people who cannot afford it. It is only after the funeral that people are forced to deal with their grief whilst paying their debts. Joe Mpende is one of the people responsible for social relief of distress grants in Grahamstown.
We do get people who come in here who get in debts because of burying the people. Most cases they don't have enough money to pay either the person, the funeral providers, and then they kind of like stuck.
I couldn't pay my installments, I couldn't pay my daughter's school fees, I couldn't pay my accounts. Yeah, and we just managed even with food at home.
People often borrow money at high interest rates, which results in a cycle of poverty. Social workers have noted ethnol abuse in the community as a means of escape. What help is there available to families who find themselves in debt?
People who have just lost their breadwinner, they qualify for social relief of distress, which is a food parcel that is handed out to them. If they need further assistance, we refer them to social workers if they do not qualify for the grants or the assistance that we have.
But with a limited amount of social workers in the area, one of the options is to have a funeral plan in place.
We're actually encouraging people to rather join the society or join a cash plan where they are prepared, then it doesn't put them in trouble. For me, it's very important that they actually take what they can afford. And also my cheapest insurance is 15 Rand a month. That gives them 3,000 Rand.
We give the societies a cheaper rates than individuals. So as they are in a society, now we take it as these people are going to work with us for a long period. So we have to try and minimize the cost for them to get that relationship.
But you cannot always plan for death, especially when someone young dies. In cases like these, caution is required.
I do not like these lavish funerals personally, and I feel that the people that are left behind, they suffer.
As much as it is important to honor your family member, people must just guard against unnecessary expenses.